If you're a cat person, you know the sound. You know it deep in your soul. That quiet, relentless, and absolutely maddening scratching that just means one thing. There's a door closed and I'm on the wrong side of it. Today, we're going to get into why our cats have such a complicated relationship with closed doors and how one little change can make all the difference.
Okay, so let's just ask it outright. Why do cats hate closed doors with such a passion? I mean, this is a question that cat owners everywhere have been asking for ages. Turns out it's not just some random quirk. Nope, it's baked right into their DNA. And it tends to show up in a few, let's say, very obvious ways. First, you've got the physical assault. You know, that little thump-thump scratch that starts off almost cute and then just escalates into this full-blown mission to destroy the doorframe. They're not just knocking, they are demanding to be let in. And then, the soundtrack begins. You get the sad little mews, the really insistent yowls, the whole symphony of feline frustration. It's their way of telling you that this door isn't just an inconvenience, it is a personal insult. And of course, it all comes together in that grand finale, the 5 a.m. wake-up call. It's that perfect storm of scratching and meowing, timed for the exact moment when you are at your absolute weakest. It's a rite of passage for every cat owner, right? But seriously, why do they do it? To really get it, we have to stop thinking like a human who just sees a piece of wood and start thinking like a cat who sees a major violation of their entire world. This isn't about them being annoying. It's all about instinct. And this quote from feline behavior advisor Debbie Turner really hits the nail on the head. She uses this phrase, core territory. See, to your cat, your home isn't just a house. It's their kingdom. It's their safe space. A closed door literally cuts that kingdom in half, and for a cat, that feels deeply, deeply wrong. So how do they make it their kingdom? Well, they do this thing called bunting. You know when your cat rubs their little cheeks on you or the furniture or the corner of a wall? That's not just them being affectionate. They're actually leaving behind pheromones. Basically, they're putting up these tiny invisible signs that say, "This is mine, this spot is safe." It's how they make a house feel like home. So, when you close a door, it's a direct challenge to all of their deepest instincts. It means they can't patrol their territory, it takes away their sense of control, it blocks a potential escape route, which makes them feel trapped, and of course, their curiosity goes into overdrive. They absolutely have to know what's happening on the other side. But it's not just about keeping an eye on you. That need to patrol and keep their territory secure, it gets ramped up to a whole new level because of a very real and surprisingly common threat from the outside. Now, you'd think a regular cat flap would be the perfect solution, but a lot of the time, it just makes things worse. A survey found something pretty wild. In over half the homes with a standard cat flap, that's 51.1% to be exact, other cats from the neighborhood were just waltzing right in. And an intruder cat's, well, that's a huge deal. When a cat feels like their core territory has been breached, it causes some serious stress. And that stress can show up as real problems. Clawing up the furniture, spraying, overgrooming, you name it. All of a sudden, their safe space isn't safe anymore, and their behavior shows it. This is where a little bit of technology can solve a really ancient instinctual problem. On one hand, you have the traditional cat flap, which is basically an open invitation for any animal to come inside. But on the other hand, you have microchip cat flaps. And wow, the difference is night and day. It turns a vulnerable doorway into a personal, secure key for your cat only. It creates what you could call an impregnable core territory. The system itself is so simple, but it's genius. The door reads your cat's unique microchip, the same one vets use for identification, and it only unlocks for them. So no more rival cats stealing food, no more stressful face-offs in the kitchen. It totally restores the feeling that their home is their fortress. So what actually happens when you give your cat not just freedom, but secure freedom? Well, the change is pretty incredible. So in my own house, we ended up installing a simple microchip cat door. And honestly, it made a much bigger difference than I ever expected. My cat, Leo, he went from being kind of nervous at the door to just confidently striding out like he owned the place. It wasn't just about convenience for me. It was about seeing him become so much more confident, knowing his home base was totally secure. And the results really speak for themselves. That desperate scratching and meowing, pretty much gone. He was just calmer. Our whole daily routine got smoother because he wasn't relying on us to be his personal doorman anymore. This was more than just letting him in and out. It was about giving him a real sense of independence, and it enriched his life. So, really, the big takeaway here is that this whole thing started with a simple annoyance, a cat scratching at a door, but it ended up revealing something so much deeper about what our pets actually need from us to feel happy and secure. It really all boils down to a pretty simple idea. First, we have to understand their world, a world that's built on territory and security. Second, we need to empower them, give them the tools they need to be the confident, independent animals they're meant to be. And then, step 3 is the best part. You just get to sit back and watch them thrive. It's amazing how a small change that respects their nature can have such a huge impact. And that really just leaves me with one final thought. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? Whether we're talking about a cat, a dog, or any animal we share our lives with, what's one small bit of freedom, one little piece of control that we could give them that would make all the difference in their world?